on that yet?
No.
Nobody's?
Okay, all right. I will call the Administrative Services meeting of June 4th to order. It's 30 whatever approximately. Roll call, John?
Here.
Paul?
Here.
Pam?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
It looked like Mike for a second. I'm like, that's not
I didn't
his
change
name.
my name.
I'm here. Eric's online. Can I have a motion to
I'll
let
make the
Eric?
motion to let him on.
Moved by Pam, seconded by Matt. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. We have a quorum.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. Administrative Services, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for May 7th? By John, seconded by Matt. Any changes or corrections to the minutes for May 7th? Not seeing any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we just checked the public comment list. There's nobody signed in for public comment. Any member comments? Don't all speak at once. Okay. We'll go through presentation, interactive district map.
Well, we can kind of tag team this one. We have a common problem, and maybe Kathy can talk to it in a minute, but when people call and say, who's my board member? Who's my board member? And you know, in our districts are a little jiggity-jaggedy. Nicole and Kathy kind of talked about this. Nicole's team made a great solution, and now we can show it to you.
Okay.
Not only do we get who's my board member, we get what district do I live in.
Yeah.
So this is Nicole's team put this together, right up on the county board page. And then, Greg, if you just want to throw any address
it's
in
cool.
there, since you're sitting there.
You want me to do?
Sure.
Throw an address in there?
I'm
Oh,
not
that's
gonna
it,
tell you
yeah.
one.
Any address. Whose district is that? Wonderful.
Very cool.
So then she's created some quick links to send them emails and their information, takes you to their
That's awesome.
profile page, everything. And then it'll tell you if you're living out of the district. And most importantly, you know, it's really beneficial for when someone's right there on district lines as well.
Now he's sending us an email.
Yep.
SOB.
Anything else?
That was it.
That's
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have no new business as such. We have a routine consent agenda. Anybody want anything removed the routine consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the routine consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Pam, seconded by Matt. Roll call. John?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Eric? Routine consent agenda, you okay with it? Okay, pass him, I'll vote yes, and the routine consent agenda is approved. Fiber update.
Yeah, you're gonna have to bear with me today. Adam Latunda is our resident fiber expert, but both Adam and Scott Hartman are at the Illinois City County Management Conference in Champaign today. But I asked Adam to prepare a couple notes for me and just wanted to give an update because while we've been so patient for so long with the rollout of the fiber, it is finally starting to happen. And the BEAD program, it's the federal program, was aimed to bring high-speed internet to all Americans, and really pretty much all Americans. There's $42 billion there, of which Illinois got 1.04 billion. Again, there's been several iterations as to how the state wanted to do this and how the state wanted to comply with the goals of the Biden administration and the BEAD rollout. It took a while to get there, but we developed this. The state developed a pretty rigorous program. Wave one of that application program was launched in January 26th, and it went until February 27th. One of the targets of Wave one was to hit some of the higher, to served properties, or harder to serve properties. And that was a little bit of an obstacle for us because I don't think we had as many harder to serve properties, so we didn't think we would do super well in wave one. What the BEAT program does is it takes little pockets of property, no more than 5 miles in distance, and tries to bundle as many internet eligible addresses in those. And then what the state has created is a program where private entities bid on serving those properties. So they, obviously the private entities want to bundle as many together and bid on this. Wave one saw applications from entities to serve 86% of those planned area units, those little 5 mile increments. And on May 27th, after a couple stops and starts, they kind of unveiled the map. I don't know, Kathy, can you put up that map? Did I warn you about that?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait, the beads one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Greg
had
has it
the
ready.
NTIA map. The long and short, McHenry County, I think I'd say we probably did a little bit better than we anticipated. Still a lot of areas that are unserved and underserved that are not going to be included in wave one, but we did get quite a few. You can just type in McHenry County in that search. Thanks, Greg. Yeah. So you see those, can you zoom back a little bit?
Yeah.
Those darker areas, and you kind of have to imagine, and this is kind of that both the state and federal government have kind of encouraged us not to be real public about this yet, because the NTIA, National Telecommunications and Infrastructure Administration, has to sign off on all this. But this isn't a secret. This is on a publicly facing website, so I know we can talk generally about it. But these darker areas are new areas that will be served through wave one. So there's a lot of things going on there. In wave two, which was now on this launch on May 27th, there was 177 people I saw at one time on the call. Mostly people on the call were private entities wanting to provide fiber service, so business entities, but there is also a fair number of local government people just seeing what's going on. Wave two was then launched on May 27th, and wave two will go through middle of July. Wave two should bring in most of the rest of our PAUs. Wave two has no restrictions on it. So it's everybody can just go after what's easiest for them. They don't need to worry about coupling them with hard to serve areas. And the expectation is that all the other internet eligible addresses will be served in wave two. That's exciting. And so that will be pretty much all of our addresses will have a provider identified by the end of July. Everything else, there's caveats. The rules are still changing in Washington, and we don't know if they will ultimately change before July 27th. But the expectation is, if nothing else changes, that all these other gray areas are going to get lit up. It's not going to happen overnight. Most of the construction is going to be waiting until 2026. But the contracts now are rolling. We've already been contacted by one provider who won a bunch of these B1 groups. They told us even before the announcement that they knew that they're coming in. Areas like Pistaki Lakes, that's one area, and I guess I'm saying it out loud, and I'm not supposed to do that, but there's clearly an underserved or unserved market in McHenry County that's going to be hit well by this. And we'll have more to talk about, and Adam is more expert on this, but I just wanted to kind of share with you that things are happening, and our patience is paying off, and we're finally going to get there. Yeah. And we aren't spending any public money on this. This is going to be a privately owned enterprise. Yeah.
A, I wanted to say that. But B, to let people know that the state did come out here and make a full presentation to all of us about how the process was gonna work, what they were gonna look for, who they were working for, so we had a relatively, decent idea of how our private entities were going to apply. Is it inappropriate, Peter, for me to ask the names of the people who are applying for our areas?
I think it is, in a public setting, yeah.
Okay.
It really asked us to.
Can I ask the number?
I have a single private provider
Okay.
who's come
That's-
forward. That doesn't mean, so we have had contact with multiple private providers. Only one at this point is trying to set up meetings with us and with the municipalities. But that doesn't mean that there's others aren't working individually with municipalities that I don't know about.
I just am asking because there will be, I think, outreach to ask us for our support. And I just wanted to note that there may be more than one provider, so to be careful that you're
Yeah.
not,
We have, throughout this process, been kind of the collector of letters of public support from school districts and villages, and in particular Shailen has been kind of our gatekeeper of collecting all those and getting them into the state and getting into the private providers, and more of that will come.
so if somebody wanted to write a letter of support, they should send it to you.
Yes, but unless you get contacted, I'd hold off on that until we have a little bit more direction. So, if company X contacts you and says letter of support, then go for it. But we don't have that contact yet, except for one company.
Two questions. I'm assuming each of these companies will have to negotiate with the municipalities on the access and all those types of things like they have in the past.
Everybody wants expedited right-of-way access and, waiving of fees and those kinds of things.
And the second question is, in this BEADS program, are there protections built in so that what people are going to be paying? In other words, these companies are going to commit to places that have never been served before. They're going to say, well, your rates are going to be this because we're trying to get back all this money, that type of thing. Are there protections in the BEAD program to keep that from happening?
I'm not aware that there are. There was a program that did cap fees to minimal access at $30 a month. That has expired,
Right.
And I'm not aware that it's been renewed.
Okay.
So that is a piece of the puzzle. The digital equity access or whatever it was called, that's gone. And that was part of that funding of that program.
I apologize. So some of these areas are in unincorporated areas.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be the ones negotiating with the companies regarding that access.
The access.
et cetera.
If it's county roads, if it's
Right.
county right away.
But if those people, if that house that's going to be served is unincorporated, it's in the county, will we have any ability to put caps on what they can charge?
It's, these contracts, you can, but there is no incentive for private entities to allow us to put any restrictions on them because they can just go to a default state contract.
Okay.
I mean, if there was something extraordinary that they wanted, in terms of access to the right of way or something, maybe we'd have a little leverage, but they're gonna wanna do this fast and they're gonna just point to the state minimum.
Okay.
Any other questions? Eric, you got any questions?
We'll keep this on the agenda because I'm confident we're gonna have more information in the coming months, and
Sure.
Adam is close to this, so he'll be here to talk with you about it.
All right. Thank you. New strategic plan. Don't move anywhere, Peter.
Again, I'm filling in, and Scott Hartman is down at the state conference, and he is torn up that he can't be to help you on this. And I'll tell you, I don't know if he's even gonna call in here. Alicia, Scott, Kathy, and I went over this a little bit the other day, and then we had talked with Chairman Gottemoller Monday morning about this presentation, and Joe was wondering if we couldn't clean this document up a little bit, and I know it is a little messy right now, but I'm also pretty confident we can get through this pretty quick and clean this up. And if anybody wants to leave the building today with a cleaner strategic plan, we can get that done. Otherwise, we'll be sending it out to everybody. I just want to remind everybody, while we're dealing with this today in committee, we're not going to bring this to the cow in June. So we're going to just take a half step back. We're going to make some adjustments today. We're going to clean it up, and then we're going to get it out to the full board again. And then we'll probably be back at the same setting a month from now and seeing what else have we heard from the county board, what else have we researched, that kind of thing, and then potentially get it ready for consideration in July. That's the fastest track, but we're not going to try and deal with this in June when we're having our big budget presentation at the county. And then it'll also give your other county board members a little bit more time to look at this. So, without further ado, I can try and get through this pretty quick. But I was a little bit hesitant, as was our team, about pulling things off without just showing you and getting some consensus on what we want to pull off. But you see, right off the bat here, identify appropriate uses of COVID. Well, we had three of the four groups suggest remove that. And, you know, and I tend to agree. I think we've got a very clear plan for how the COVID dollars are going to be expended. You guys adopted a plan where you put all the money in the right buckets in December, and I think we're there. So if you're comfortable with that, I think we could strike that one. I have some heads nodding.
Yeah.
It's gone.
That might be the easiest thing we do.
There's some other easy ones. This next one is pretty easy too, but it's more how you want to approach it. Develop and implement a reporting mechanism for the county appointed boards. Now, this was a really good goal that came out of last time. And I wanted to present this to you for 2 minutes of consideration. This is an example of the boards and commissions that you guys appoint. And I think you have made real significant progress in the last year on getting, or in last 4 years, on getting these boards and commissions in for regular contact with the county board. And just this morning, I put that little red scribble by ones that I know we have very regular contact, or we've had in recent months to talk with you. So as I look at this goal, I think, well, yeah, we could remove it. 2 of the 4 groups said remove it. But we could also leave it on there because it's a wonderful report card. You know, and as Alicia and Alex continue to keep track of what we're doing, if we leave this on here, we could probably put things on here almost every month where we've had another contact or report from some of the boards that you guys are reporting.
Well, I'm looking at the top of this, Peter, and I noticed that Valley High Cemetery Board does not have a red mark check to it, and I don't ever remember talking to them at Administrative Services,
Right.
ever.
And most of these red marks are my red marks. And I think that we keep it. I feel very strongly that that's one of the ways that we as county board members can ensure that those people that we are appointing to boards are in fact doing what we think is in the best interest of our shared constituents. I also think for new county board members, it's an opportunity to become better educated about some of the things that are going on outside of, you know, their daily purview. I just think it's a great educational tool besides holding us accountable and upholding those people that we appoint accountable. So I would advocate to continue to leave it on.
I would agree.
It's a communication device.
It'll be a nice thing to have on the report card, I think, and it'll show.
And I like the connection with community too, because now several of these people we've met through these things reach out to me directly. So they're people I never heard of before, so.
No, I would keep it too, but anyway, so go ahead, Terry.
When did the cemetery board last meet?
I don't have any idea.
In my first cycle here, after I got elected, I remember the cemetery board, a little presentation one time. And I can't tell you if it was lawn government or it was admin.
Okay.
I think it was admin, it wasn't lawn government. And yes, I remember we
We had one
yes.
time, that was first year.
We did.
That was the first time I found out we had a cemetery board.
Well, there was a guy that was presented to be on the board, but that never went anywhere, and that's all I ever remember.
Well,
So-
all the more reason that
Clearly, we can do a better job
We
of,
can do- I
and
mean-
again, for the new board members, this has nothing to do with Valley High, other than the shares the same
Right,
name. It
right.
is a county-owned cemetery immediately west of DOT that is for indigent burial. You know, occasionally we come across remains that need to be interned, and this is a place for that. All right, so we can maybe just strike all the new part off there. Boom, look at that, we're making progress.
Oh, good.
According to our meeting portal, last time they met was November 27th of 2013.
I think we do better than that.
Yeah, but we also met with someone who was working that at a meeting, not maybe specific to this
Yeah,
group.
we
but
need a little
met.
more context.
And we got an actual, because that's the first time I even heard of the cemetery, even knew it was here, so.
So we got a mission here to-
Existed, but I don't remember hearing about it, so, okay.
The next one might be pretty straightforward. Undertake an organizational analysis to review organizational scenarios. This one was coming on the heels of the new board and moving from 24 to 18 board members. And this was an important goal at the time, but I think we can probably say that we've accomplished this one, and 3 of the 4 groups agreed with you. You can strike that, I think.
I do remember when this was put on, and yes, it was exactly that. We were dealing with a transition from 24 to 18, and, you know, it just was, you know, who's
We're
gonna
done.
be where?
We're here now.
Yeah.
All right, now we're rolling. Right here, this one is really not a change in goal, but maybe a change in the text surrounding that goal. We had lots of different involvement on this one, but I think this one was text that everyone kind of agreed on. It was a fusion of language in 1 and 4. So if want to take a look, just work to make the county welcoming and inclusive to all. Pretty straightforward.
It's the language in question that I've highlighted. So.
If you're comfortable with that, we
That's
can.
good, yeah.
All right, well then, we're just gonna do,
Okay.
all right, I'm gonna hit undo on that one. There we go, but still, it looks beautiful.
Okay, get rid of that one. Oh, no. Yeah, get rid of the fusion of 1 and 4.
Well, if you had one space over to the left, you'd have made it, but.
Well, and there will be some cleanup done on this document. It's just giving you guys the
Okay.
general.
That's all
I
right.
should say, you know, since our meeting in Woodstock, our team has met a couple of different times with the NIU team, and then we made another couple times internally to get here. So we put some thought into this. Goal 7, this is an old goal, explore sustainable funding sources. One group said remove. You know, I don't have a lot of strong feelings on this one. I will tell you, whether or not this is in your strategic plan, it's going to be something staff continues to work on, right? I mean, this is sustainable.
Why wouldn't we do this?
What's that?
And why wouldn't we keep it on here to remind ourselves to do this all the time?
And I think we'll have lots of opportunities to report on progress on this one. You know? And to me, this isn't sustainable, meaning energy efficient.
Right.
This is sustainable, meaning ongoing. You know, whatever that, you know,
Except I'm gonna just ask the question. It was only one group that said to remove it. Obviously, then that meant that there were 3 groups that felt that it should stay on. My comment is we publish the strategic plan, do we not? We place it on our website for people to gain access to. It may sound silly and stupid, but I think that's one of the things that our constituents need to be reminded that is always foremost in our heads, is that we're always going to do that. So it should stay on, so that they know that that is something obviously that is in our plan constantly,
Right.
forever. I know we know that, but I don't know necessarily if this document is only used for us.
Well, you could also add the following: explore sustainable funding resources to reduce reliance on property taxes.
you could.
You get a hoorah from everybody for that.
I don't think anybody.
It goes without saying, but yeah.
But I would like that little bit of verbiage added, that would be just.
Yes.
I think that the general public would look at that and go, okay, yeah, I can understand that.
If that's what we're gonna, yeah, I agree.
All right.
That should be listed as number 1.
Then you sold number 7.
Oh, yeah.
Number 8 there, improve resiliency in emergencies and disasters. There was no real discussion on that. That was a goal from before, but I think it's even more important now than ever. Again, local government's relationship with emergency management is kind of changing with the federal government, and I think that that's something that we want to look at even more than ever.
Well, and the state's pushing that down to us too.
Number 9 was a new goal, provide training and continuing education for the county board members. I like this goal. I think you guys have made a lot of progress in the last several years on this area, and as evident, we're going to have another session for new county board members in June, and I think we'll have a lot of good things to continue to report on this one. So I would suggest accepting this new goal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because even clarification on the role of the chair versus the role of the board.
Other thing I would, and something we should look at for future, I mean, it's too late for this year since it goes in July. There ought to be some way to encourage people to find a way to get to the National Association of Counties annual convention. You will learn things there that,
Yeah.
you know,
that's it.
if
And
nothing
other
else, you'll
people.
compare to what other counties do all over the country. And it's a
It could
great
be a
tool.
good task within that goal.
Yeah, just to at least make the information available, and if you can go, you can go. If you can't go, you can't go. But it would be, you'll learn something.
And particularly if it's regional, if it's not, in Hawaii.
Oh, then I would go.
But I mean, particularly if
Yeah,
it's
this
not
year I
an
think it's in
added-
Philadelphia, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't
But Washington wasn't bad. It's, an easy flight. And
Okay. Are we on to organizational advancement?
wow, I'm impressed.
All right, one key strategic area down.
All right, number 2 here. 2 of the groups said remove this. Work to update and overhaul the county website.
I thought it was completed.
Terry, I think you're taking words out of my mouth.
Oh, okay.
4 years ago, when we were on the cusp, we were developing an RFP to put out to bring in a third party to completely revamp our website. So that was timely when we created this goal. It's done. We have no prospects on the horizon to do that again, nor money budgeted. But we are always changing the website. The web changes daily. I mean, so we could leave it on because we are always looking to improve the website. But in terms of significant overhaul, that's not anticipated into the near term.
I would take it off because of that difference.
Yeah, it's
I would
functional.
too,
It's-
yeah.
If you decide, if technology changes in a couple of years and people say, hey, there's an easier way to do this, great, tell us about it. But
You just don't want to make a long-term routine?
It's always there.
Okay.
There was one thing that I would like to put under a task, and again, this hasn't been discussed yet, but I went to a fantastic training yesterday about ADA accessibility with the new web accessibility guidelines that are going to be mandatory upon counties of our size. And, there are different ways that we interact with the public that are going to need to be, tweaked a bit so that we can be more helpful to those who have different needs. So again, I'm hoping that will be one of our tasks under inclusivity, that we just discussed. So again, you can anticipate that there will be both website and, social media channel changes in the future.
See, I think that's redundant. I think we've included that
Right.
by saying it's understood, that we're going to keep our website up to date. We want people to feel welcome and included. We put that in there, so it's redundant to call it out.
Well, I'm not suggesting calling it out, but when we do the strategic plan updates, I intend to
Yes.
make sure that Alex notes, the different steps we are taking under the goal that you guys have previously, accepted under inclusivity.
Yes, yes.
Moving down, we have 3 and 3, both related to recruitment and retention of staff. We have some
And it
competing
reads-
language here, some good new language.
wait, are you you're faster, or where are we at?
Did I move two? I skipped over two.
No, she deleted one, so change the
Okay,
number
that's
on the
what you're
screen.
saying.
So 2 and 3 is talking about.
It's, yeah, we're
Yeah,
talking this
two,
one
yeah.
right here and
Yeah.
this one right here.
Okay, fine.
So we have develop and implement countywide staffing program to enhance, and then continue incentive advancement through training, blah, blah, blah. I think we could probably the end here is the same, right? We want to recruit and retain the best possible staff we can. I think the language there may be under number 2 of countywide recruitment and retention efforts for qualified skilled employees is great. We could, this language is essentially the same, but if we could use something like that, I think we had kind of an old goal of an incentive program and recruiting and retaining. I think it's all under one umbrella.
Would you make it that would be a long-term routine then?
Yeah, ongoing.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so we would be keeping number 2, from what I'm understanding, removing 3, but making 2 long-term routine instead of short-term routine. All right, well, I'm gonna, if everybody agrees, I'm gonna make that change right now, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fire away.
Change a lot.
And take this out, and I can do this. Sorry. And then we are going to.
Well, Alicia's working, you can maybe.
Yeah, I'll get it cleaned up.
Look at this one here. We had a goal of continuing to cross-pollinate between programs and departments. I've always struggled with that word, cross-pollinate. Sounds like botany class. But the new language we had heard from other groups was just departments should collaborate on programs to maximize efficiency and effectiveness. That, to me, seems to cut to the heart, right? We always want to look for ways of collaboration. Made a notice.
It's our group, Terry.
Shannon Teresi and I were just talking before the meeting about, ways maybe that the auditor's office can assist the mental health board. And that's, we're working on those kind of collaboration opportunities. Shannon's excited about, I talked with Leonetta Rizzi, and there's some things that we can do there. And that is to the heart of this, looking for those opportunities to collaborate, taking down the barriers.
They came in and helped public health.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Can we reverse the words effectiveness and efficiency? Effectiveness first, please.
Well, I mean, there's the issue of they have on staff an IT person. I mean, like right now, the mental health board, correct?
I don't
I don't
know.
have any idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's certain things that you don't understand.
If I'm deleting too early, please let me know.
No,
I
you're
think
good.
you're fine, keep going.
Cleaning it up, it's looking good.
Yeah, and then collaborate was the key word there.
Yep.
Not wanting departments to feel like, we're coming into.
But something Scott and I say every Monday at employee orientations, we're all wearing the same badge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all wearing the same badge.
I think it's number 4.
Whether you report to an appointed board, an elected official, or up through county administration, you're all wearing the same badge.
Yeah, because some things just don't make sense. Why would they be doing Greg's job?
Okay, then we got a few new goals here. Annualize analyze the kind of mandated services versus non-mandated services. This is something we've talked quite a bit about. In the last iteration of the plan, we had a few different efforts to really focus on non-mandated programs. We've changed the budget document to distinguish between mandated and non-mandated. I think there's a desire to keep this in. Again, how we report on it continues to be something we need to work on. Pam, I know we and I talked a little bit about kind of maybe having a rotation of non-mandated programs that report out like every 3 or 4 years about what's going on. Just things like well, I'm going to say MC Ride, but that may be changing with Regional Transportation Authority. But that's an area where we're spending a lot of time and effort and money, and there's nothing in statute that says we need to do that. But we're doing it very well, but it comes at a cost. So those are kinds of the things that we would want to look at.
And again, I think just to get those kinds of issues in front of the board and let the board either reaffirm that that's where we want to focus, spend our money, or not. It needs to be evaluated and reaffirmed or eliminated, right? There needs to be an action. And I would even tell you that every 3 or 4 years probably is too long. I'd say every couple of years, because you'll miss that board continuity.
Shannon and I were talking about this because we've all probably done it internally, either in our businesses, even in our personal finances or government positions, where something will hit like 2008 or 2024, and all of a sudden you realize that what was coming in the door is not coming in the door. And so it's our own personal little Doge process. Right. And so I was looking through, you guys may have seen it, where Elon Musk basically laid out what was their Doge process, and it was pretty basic. The first thing you do is cut off all automatic credit card payments. And I thought, oh, in 2008, that was actually what I did. And went through, what did I do in 2008 as a business owner? And I cut my expenditures 63%, and I ended up having the most profitable year in business that I'd had from when I started in 2003. And then this last year in 2024, with a big drop in revenue, and once again thinking, well, I ran a pretty tight ship, just immediately found $100,000 in expenses that I hadn't realized were there. And I was talking to Shannon about it, and I went through again, like just looking at what his process was. And I said, well, as an auditor, what do you do? Do you have that systematized? And so we were kind of comparing, like, what do I do? But I quit doing it annually. We should be doing this annually. And I said, do you do this as an auditor? Is there any kind of a process? She said, well, when they go in, yes, they do it, but it's not something that's systematized annually. And I said, wouldn't it be great if we could just get kind of a systematized process that the departments do? And I said, I would like to see that in my business, that when we go to budgets, that we all start looking at this way. I mean, think about that. If everybody just lived that way, we don't, because we get comfortable. So we were going to compare lists. And is that maybe the direction or the thought that we could look at? Because we all do it. We get comfortable. We're frogs in hot water. And little things that you just don't think about. Silly little things.
Yeah, Disco is about programs themselves, but just everyday expenses, Terry, is also important to look at. And you make a point. You know, sometimes you entered into an agreement to deal with an issue in 2019 that it's not the same situation now.
Yeah, somebody had signed a contract. Nobody was even using the contract anymore. You know, we didn't even use the service anymore.
That was my legislation at the state level. You have to sell me.
Yeah.
But is it yielding the same benefit that it did when you entered in? We have an example, I know what's going to be coming to finance in the next several months. We have a software that we have a contract with to look for fraudulent use of exemptions, right? We did that for 3 years ago. We've caught most of the ones we're going to catch, you know, so it's not yielding the same results that it did. That's the expectation, but that's an example, just a simple example, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we can take off group 3, I think, Alicia. Okay. The next one, number 6, maintain a 3-year living financial model. I know I'm told Finance Chair Scala was in group 3 and this was his goal. and we've talked with CFO Kerry Weiss about this, and our ability to do this, I think, is within reach with our ClearGov financial tools. So I think I'm excited to have this one on there and work on that.
Can I go back? Are we considering these long-term, or are we considering these short-term goals that will be achieved and then also can be ultimately eliminated because they become part of our routine?
It's a great question, Pam, and I think as my thought was when we get done here today, Lisa will send this back to NIU. We already have a follow-up meeting with NIU set for next Tuesday afternoon to kind of review what you guys have come up with, and maybe we can revisit some of those,
Okay.
what we want to call them, at least as an initial idea, whether they be long-term, short-term, routine, or complex. Encourage departments and elected officials to seek efficiencies.
I don't know what that
I
means.
love you. I don't know what that means either.
Perhaps we can fuse it with three, because departments should collaborate on programs to maximize effectiveness and efficiency.
It seemed
That gives
redundant.
us something to work with, but, you know.
It seems redundant when I read it, like it's already been.
All right, I can delete.
Yes.
Yeah.
That are redefined.
The note I scribbled in as was we're gonna do this anyway, so we can say it's on there twice essentially.
And I worry about, and I know there's some disagreement about this, but I worry about we start emphasizing efficiency over effectiveness. Purpose of- Efficiency over effectiveness. I mean, purpose of government is to be effective. You know, if we start focusing on efficiencies, we can lose effectiveness. So we have to be very careful. with
Well,
how we
for
drive that.
example,
We need both.
people driving to deliver mail on special days rather than when, there were just examples of things that slicing off the end of the hand because grandma's oven was small, that nobody thought about for years,
Sure.
things like that, so.
Yeah, no, I recognize there's gonna be opportunities, but I just worry about.
Duly noted. I agree. You don't want to just be efficient. You need to be effective.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't disagree with that.
The new goal number 7 there, support the sheriff's efforts to optimize the use of the corrections facility and enhance law enforcement throughout. This came with just a focus on the corrections facility, and we think we kind of tagged on there and enhance law enforcement across the county because we know that we've got a challenge and an opportunity in the jail right now, both to bring in some revenue from Lake County and other entities, but we also have a healthcare challenge that we've got to deal with. And so we're going to spend a lot of time on the jail in the next year. But there's other things that are going on with law enforcement that are going to involve bigger things. We had our issue with Hebron, this spring and working there. And Hebron's not alone. There's a lot of small municipalities that are struggling with law enforcement needs, and it's going to fall back on us one way or the other. So I want to keep our eye on that. I think there'll be some things to report on there. We've got so much opportunity with the training center in Cary and the shooting range. We'll have some opportunities to report on there. And there's things we aren't even thinking about. Shailen's been working with the police chiefs all over the county on body cameras and data storage and how that best meshes with this prosecutor's office and making that as efficient as possible. So I think we'll have some things to report on there. We want to leave this on as a goal.
I do like to get rid of the word monetize and put optimize.
Yeah.
It's not about selling the jail, it's about
Utilizing it appropriately.
Using an asset we have.
All right, environmental sustainability. This one was a little bit more straightforward. A and B are just kind of like sub-goals or almost tasks within that overarching goal of work to enhance and maintain long-term sustainability of the agriculture industry. A and B are clearly things we want to keep our eye on. There'll be other things, but these are two. And if we leave B on, there was a suggestion that we add that specificity of farm and conservation easements. I don't have strong feelings on that one way or the other.
Can I just throw out here, because it's on my head and somebody will make a note and remind me what I forgot. We should also have the conservation district, because of those easements, because of what they're doing, come in periodically and review their strategic plan with the board, just so the board's aware of exactly what it is that they're focusing in on and how that ultimately affects us.
Yeah, I see an
We should do
opportunity
that.
to get some things on our strategic plan report very
It's
quickly.
not on the list.
Yeah, I know, that's what I did, that's why
Conservation district's on
I
there.
want somebody to know.
Down in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see, you're right. I was looking for McHenry County Conservation District, sorry.
So you want to leave that
Yeah.
example? Okay, terrific. Number 2, remain aware of advancement in alternative energy sources. It just says remain aware. Develop and implement an environmental sustainability plan. Now, we've thought about this one.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. These are all goals or tasks that would fit within this, but there's so many other things that are going to be about alternative energies that we don't even know about. I'm wondering if we might just be best to put a period here,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
not
a period.
try and imagine what is on the horizon. But this is one where I know we're gonna be reporting on this thing all the time. There are so many different ways
I
we're
agree.
working on sustainability. Mr. Burrows is sitting here and he's always putting in, new shower heads or low impact toilets or, lights and new HVACs. All that's gonna fit under this goal, and I think we're gonna have an opportunity to put a lot of actions in here on the report card, but we could just put a period after plan and call it good.
I agree.
A period instead of a colon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And get rid of it,
We don't need that
and
included.
trying to identify what that means.
Instead of that includes,
Oh,
just
God.
plan.
Yeah, sustainable plan.
Good conclusion, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, talking about drainage districts. We made some progress in the last couple of years on drainage districts and working with Nicole and the Farm Bureau and DOT.
What about number 3?
Did we skip one?
You skipped short-term complex.
This one right here this one right here. Were we supposed to delete that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was part of the other one, wasn't it?
No, it was a
What
separate.
was it? It was a separate one, but
Yeah,
But we can delete it.
I don't mind deleting it because I don't think
It's not our
for
business.
for a county,
yeah, I don't think that's gonna
it's
happen.
not much of our lane. We very well may have a goal in identifying.
Oh, wait, we changed, maybe it was the language that Group 2 changed, because Group 2 had this, identify strategic areas for electric charging stations, including charging stations for the county fleet to use a county.
Yeah, we added the including fleet because to me, that's our only lane, is,
That's,
looking at our fleet. We're not identifying places in downtown Algonquin. Downtown Algonquin's,
You want it-
the Village of Algonquin's doing that.
But we're not in the business of providing charging stations any more than we are for gas stations.
And also, we just above here removed the included items, which this would have fallen under an included item. So I think we leave it at sustainability plan, period, and get rid of that as an included
Yeah.
item.
well, the only thing I would say different is that if you want to convert this to just the county fleet use, I'm okay with that. Because I do think we need to talk about what we're doing as a county fleet. But that's not identifying charging stations throughout the county, that's just
That's
saying
the part
what
I
we're
have
doing for us.
Okay. So I don't know if that's part of our strategic plan, though.
I
I mean, that's part of
That's
normal
fine.
routine business.
Yeah, that's gonna come up in
If
transportation.
that comes up and it's necessary, then we'll be getting a presentation on it and deal with that.
That's fine.
on that.
Because this goes into, again, and we're talking, this is a strategic plan, and again, we're like gonna look to the future.
I'd eliminate it.
We're crystal
Yeah.
balling.
Take it
here.
out.
I think we covered
You've got
number
all of
two.
these companies that have changed, where they're going back to,
And number 2 covers us looking at that if something
Okay.
comes up in the
I
future
agree.
that we need it.
I agree, get rid of it.
yeah,
Alright, it's gone.
yes, and I know you guys are gonna be so sad.
All right, on drainage districts, we had some language 4 years ago about reactivating drainage districts, and so we've done some good work on mapping where the tiles are, et cetera. Kind of coming out of the discussion several groups had, we said, consider reactivation and consolidation of drainage districts whenever future area development presents the opportunity. Had some of this with the potential reactivation to the Coon Creek district with the solar farm in the southwest part of the county. I think that's an example of what development might yield, but when we're looking to react to it.
I like
That's
it.
good.
Okay. All right, so it really keeps it as a goal, just kind of refreshes the language.
I'll clean up the data.
Okay, the final one is number 6. This was a new goal. Develop a commission to study water supply and demand throughout the county. Only one group had this, but there is interest, I think, among several county board members to have something about this. We talked about this a little bit as staff. I'm wondering if we maybe took this up another level, and rather than having a commission to study, maybe if we had a commission to advance awareness of water supply and demand is really what we're, you know, if we develop a commission to study, what we're doing is we're developing a commission likely to outsource to a third party of some sort to do another study. But what I'm hearing from some of the county board members I've talked to is really, it's about raising awareness. It's about, again, making our municipalities aware of the finite resources and thinking about that when they're planning to sink their next well.
Why are we developing a commission? Why do we have to develop a commission?
Okay, well, we could just, I know
We
it
already
said
have-
advance
we have
awareness.
more
I
information.
literally wrote advance awareness of water supply.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to
What
create
did you
another
write?
thing,
That's
another
okay.
entity. I'm sorry.
What did you write? That sounded good. Advance
And
awareness.
I said, what the real goal is, what I'm hearing from the discussion with several of you is advance awareness of the water supply and demand needs throughout the county.
That sounds like
Sounds
we should.
great.
And can we somehow put monitoring in there too, so that we
We
have?
already monitor it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We just gotta pass the information
That
out.
sounds like Alicia.
We have more information about
We
our
have
water
42
supply than
wells.
most of the world does.
We have 42 monitoring wells.
Wait,
Ready?
That sounds like you.
That's how I got involved.
Awareness
And
of information on the water.
Who gave us a presentation a few years ago about
probably Scott Keichen.
It was Scott.
That's his.
It was Scott.
about the water?
Scott.
Well, you got the monitoring wells, we continue to monitor.
Scott is the one, and his team are the ones with the laptop access to all 42 wells and kind of.
We
And
can
they
tell
are
you
monitoring
exactly
them.
what's
I know
going
they
on
are.
at any given time, where we're dry,
This is
where we're
good
wet.
because we want to advance the
But
awareness.
what I was hearing from some of your
We can
fellow
see
county
that.
board members,
We can go online and see that.
Yeah.
what I was hearing was that, yes, we have staff that are aware, and it's a limited number of county board members aware, but should it be a goal to make a broader audience aware of where we are with our water supply and demand? And when I say a broader audience, the Huntley Village Board, the Marengo Village Board, you know, when they're making decisions about where future subdivisions might be, and that was the connection that I think some members of your county board thought was lost. And we could aspire to a little bit
Distributing
higher.
the information makes great sense to me. I certainly would like them to know what we know, but I sure don't want a commission to do it.
I don't either.
No, okay.
And shared services, I mean, that's what we're doing now. Why can't we just do informational as well as actual services too, right?
And that doesn't
Well,
commit you to any particular action, just a general action.
Yeah.
of
Just as an
awareness.
example of something to give an idea, I was told this, sometime when I was at a Huntley trip, whatever. Huntley has one well, one whole well, all it does is water the grass in Del Webb. That's how much usage they have, to give you an idea. That's the consumption from that well just covers watering grass. Okay, so, I mean, I'm sure other towns have things they can compare it to, but those are the kind of things that
They built that big fancy water feature, they gotta put water over the water
yeah,
feature.
well, but that's not part of it. It's the just water the grass. So,
I think that number 5 is really good.
So there was a lot of discusussion here. Is this what you want it to look like
Yeah,
in 5?
that's good.
Okay, just trying to keep track.
Yeah.
That'll do the job for you,
Well,
or we'll leave it on for now.
yeah, and I think, because I'm thinking about formatting, we got long-term, so I think we probably put the new over here, but again, there's some
we
cleanup that I have to
can
do.
worry about which category it goes under.
Okay, economic development, we had 3 of the 4 groups said undertake a marketing and branding analysis, or not analysis, initiative. We did it. I think we can mark this as done. I mean, 4 years ago, we were just kind of rolling out the MCH. Alicia and her team have done a good job of making that very well accepted as our new branding. We even put it on the new sign out front of this building, so.
It looks glorious.
Actually, the beer runs.
Number 3, collaborate with municipalities. That was a new part. The old goal was create and implement.
This one right here too, formally too. There's one word change here, so
Okay.
just gonna take out this. That's all right with it, with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Oop, oop.
Thank
And take out the group 3 so that, it's cleaner, pursuant to
Yep.
your instructions. All right, now on to that which is 3.
It's working. Seriously.
This one, collaborate with municipalities, that was a new language, which I appreciate, because this isn't really our lane either on a day-to-day basis, but create and implement a development strategies to rezone and reuse existing vacant structures, example, strip malls and land parcels. Group 4 said remove. I'm very comfortable removing this, but
We don't, do we have any in unincorporated McHenry County?
Exactly. It's not our business.
I mean, Scott said, well, we did reuse an old Aldi here in Woodstock for the clerk's election center, but we can only do that so many times. But there are, if we want to leave something like this on there, I think
it's an overreach.
It's not,
It's not our business.
well,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
agree.
what we have.
It's an overreach, I think.
I mean, has there been a problem
Well, the only thing,
of vacant buildings in unincorporated McHenry County?
No.
I mean, there might be one someplace, but I can't think of one.
If anybody comes, it goes to zoning and it's
Go
not.
ahead, John.
the only thing I might mention, I don't know if it's anywhere, I forget if it's anywhere else in here, is that somehow making sure that the communication between municipalities and the county is better. I'm thinking about the Crystal Lake issue and the old Flowerwood. And how, they had a plan for there, but they hadn't grabbed it yet, and there was, the Crystal Lake was saying they didn't know what was going on, and, I know it's not true, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, let's take this out. Because the more we agree to do it, then they'd come back and say, hey, you had it in your strategic plan, you were gonna talk to us before we did this.
20 years.
And we already got that quite a bit from this last whole episode. So I think if we don't put it in writing, I think you're right, I think it's something that we have to be cognizant of, especially board member to board member. You all know your own districts. I have a issue right now in mind with this exact thing, but I don't think we want to put in our strategic plan to say this is something we definitely do, because if we do miss, then eggs on our face on this deal.
Yeah, it's not.
I have no problem getting rid of it. Yeah.
It's vanished.
And we're coming down the home stretch here. Health and Human Services, institute a memory care unit. We can agree we're done with that one. I mean,
Yeah.
if we wanted to have something on memory care, it would be something about monitor or hands or something like that, but no.
Get rid of it.
All right.
I just was in Arkansas. My mother-in-law just went into memory care. Ours is more beautiful, and hers is like a really high-end private.
It's Arkansas.
Well, but still, it's like the highest, and it's probably the nicest one in the state.
That's what my
Really
point is. I
high-end.
understand
It's like
that.
a mansion.
Sadly, my dad had a thing for that from when my stepmother went into it. He said, she won't remember anyway.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it is really nice, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
4 years ago, we had a goal. It's to develop and implement a public health strategic plan to address the county aging population and other continued efforts to support healthcare service, blah, blah, blah. The challenge I have with this is the Board of Health has a requirement they do need to develop a community health assessment. And out of that assessment, develop a community health improvement plan. This is gonna happen. They're gonna do this next year.
Review the Board of Health's plan.
That's a better, yeah, I like that.
Because I don't think that we're, as a board, even capable of stepping in and doing
Yeah,
that.
the last community health assessment did note aging populations should be one of our targets. But I just, my suggestion and Melissa's suggestion is she met with Alicia and Scott and Kathy and I is just let that process play out. The Board of Health is going to do their program and we're going to support them on implementing their health improvement plan.
I like
would
review.
say Review the
Remove
public.
the next community health.
Let's say Board of Health, review the Board of Health's.
Support and review. And
The other thing is if you're reviewing and you're already agreeing to support it, I think it has to be review without the support.
Yeah.
Support's
I
made
didn't
by
say
the
support,
review.
just review.
Yeah, just review.
So develop and support to put review.
Mhm. But put the Board of Health so that it's clear that.
Beautiful.
Instead of next, can we put in a date 2026, whatever it is?
I believe they're starting next year.
Well, that would be 2026. I just next is, yeah, I don't know what that means.
It's like the cemetery board. Another
Yeah.
13 years for review.
I like next.
All right, 4 years ago, we had a goal that said coordinate and improve the social service network in the county and continue to offer quality services. It's a good goal. It's a little bit broad in terms of our, as a county board's ability to really impact, but on the other hand, there's no group more better positioned to coordinate this kind of overarching review. We did have one group suggest remove it. If you want to leave it on, I think there are opportunities to play a role in sort of inventorying what social service networks are out there and where the gaps are. We do have the people who need forum annually that kind of lay some of that out there, so. I like the word inventory in
I
there.
don't like coordinate. That to me is like we're actively engaged, but I have no problem with, as you said,
Inventory.
yeah, inventorying, again, awareness, whatever, but I don't like coordinate.
I know we're gonna try and have a different relationship with the mental health board moving forward. That can fit in here a little bit. Pioneers, there's so many groups that fall under this umbrella that we do work with,
So like that, is that what you approve of inventory and improve? Is that okay?
I don't know.
Question, isn't this what the mental health board does? Is this not what they do?
That's a component.
But Terry,
And
we
the regular
appoint
health
people to the mental health
The
board.
continuum of care, for unsheltered people, that's another issue. We've got seats on the board, but it's not ours. We do have responsibility, or we've taken on the responsibility of maintaining that homeless inventory, the HMIS. So I think if we can have opportunities to report on this and demonstrate progress.
Do we want to use the word, though, again, I'm getting inventory and improve, as if the board itself has that responsibility? Is it maybe inventory and review again?
Okay.
Question, one group recommended removing this section. So,
As it was worded.
I think it's important to leave it in, just to show that there is some coordination in the county. I just don't, again, want it to sound as if the county board has an active daily role in, ensuring that there's social services.
here's what I'm uncomfortable with. When I look at all of these 5, I think that they are supposed to all be encompassed under the first one, and I don't know why the other 4 are there.
Housing isn't involved with the,
Because
Board of Health.
I don't see these as our job. It makes me very uncomfortable.
And I would, Terry, respectfully, the Board of Health has nothing to do with ensuring that there's housing for our elder care. That's not within their purview.
Well, what scares me about housing
we
for
have-
elder care is, if you look at Valley High's original plan, it was gonna have 4 steps, and they were gonna start with apartments, and then they were gonna go to,
Right.
you know.
That's the genesis
And I
of
think
number
that's where
3.
this comes
Yeah,
from,
I
and I don't
agree.
know that we're ready to take that on. I'm not sure I mean, maybe we are, maybe we aren't, but I don't.
Well, and then the first thing would be, is this an issue? You know, I mean, is this an issue? in the
Number
county?
3.
And,
We'd
and
make it
then,
an
and
issue
then,
by
and then
having it.
honestly, if this is an issue, I would like to look at how it relates to the property taxes of people who've been priced out of the homes that they owned. I mean, this really gets into a lot.
Well, that's not where it came from. It
I was-
wasn't
number
about
three-
taxes. It was about,
Number 3, Joe's right, number 3 came from a long
Valley
road
High.
plan to use the property at Valley High to be kind of a transitional, where you could move from different levels of service. Now, we made the addition of the memory care unit, but
Well,
I personally have some question whether I even want to get further into this game.
Well, in 1967, when that was passed, people weren't being priced out of their homes for property taxes. It might actually be an issue now because of people who, get priced out of their homes because of property taxes. But when we don't have data to look at to even know is there some housing crisis of homelessness? So that's what, it's like, wow, to put that in a strategic
think we're
plan.
confused.
Can we finish at number 1 first, what we're doing here?
Okay,
I feel
finish
like we're
number
bouncing
1.
all over
Yeah.
the place.
okay, sorry.
I'm getting
So
confused
this
between if we're
this
talking
one
about
right
houses.
here, yeah.
Let's just start about,
So there was a statement said that does number 1 cover all 5 of these? And you're saying, Pam, no, because homelessness is not part of the Board of Health, right? Number 1.
Housing isn't.
Housing isn't, I mean.
Nor is police social work.
But
Right.
could we do the inventory and review? Because I don't know how we improve. That's a big statement to say that we're gonna improve upon that. Is that making it incumbent upon us to improve that? We have to be aware of what's happening in the county.
Inventory and review are almost the same word.
Yeah.
We could just take out and
Inventory is
improve.
fine.
Or just review, or inventory, Only
we can
because.
find out what's missing.
This
That's the
case.
answer. And we can decide if we have a way to solve those missing things.
Right,
We need
yeah.
to find out what's missing.
So is
You
it
guys
just
are on it.
inventory and review, or is it just inventory? What do you guys think?
Or
Inventory
just review.
or review, I don't.
Maybe
care.
review's better than inventory, because that at least says that we're looking at it, and if we need to do something, that implies that we would take some kind of an action, but it's not required.
There you go.
Inventory just means you're collecting data.
Okay. Also, well, I don't want to go out of order, but I have to ask this on number 5. The police social work program, isn't that mandated?
Yep.
Not at all.
Not the way we do it.
Oh, okay.
Because we do it as a program.
There is mandates in Safety Act regarding social work for law enforcement.
The program that
What
we.
we're doing, I think, is
Yeah,
a much more efficient way of, in benefiting our municipalities in the manner that we're doing it. So
Okay.
I think there's pretty broad support for that, whether you want,
Yeah,
want to
that
note it
is
as
supporting what
specific.
we're doing.
I think I actually got a traffic stop by a social worker, which is so sweet.
So to number 3, again, this was, there was not broad call for this amongst the county board. It was a passion of maybe one. But it is about expanding the use of the Valley High property to deal with multiple
I
levels.
always say determine whether we should expand Valley High.
Well, just one point, talking to Tom. The next step there, the state of Illinois is not granting more licenses for that next step of type of elder care housing.
Okay.
So,
Currently.
and that's the transition, some of the transition they're talking about. They're not providing those licenses
Yeah,
right now.
assisted living, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean,
So we can't get licensed for it.
so until we get,
There clearly is there are other providers of those services.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a need, there's no question, in my mind, there's no question about it, but I'm just not sure that they can get the licensing they need to do what they want to do.
I'm very fine with taking it out.
Others, delete or leave it in? What do you want to do?
I'm a delete.
I would delete it.
Yeah, I'm good deleting
Okay,
it.
take it out.
And just FYI, I mean, Tom's developing a plan, a strategic comp plan over there too, in Valley High, so that may be part of his plan that could roll up at some point in time, once he's ready.
Determine the county's role in homelessness. You know, this is one of those things that, whether or not it's in the plan, we're going to continue to touch on this. You know, as I said, we have seats at the table on the Continuum Care Coalition. We are doing the homeless monitoring. It doesn't go away. You know, got Work Corps calling regularly, you know, wanting to meet with the chairman, and it's real.
Yeah.
This is kind of my language here, determining the county's role is the question. There's nothing in statute that says we have to be involved in homelessness, but it's unavoidable one way or the other.
Well, can we put it under number 2 as like an A?
Well, can I?
Yeah, it could be we could identify it as a task, you know, when we're reporting out on actions.
So I'd like to talk on this for just a second here. So the things about homelessness, there's 48 hours on the street for a kid that's probably going to be picked up by somebody and then pimped out and end up on sex slave trade. It's really bad. And most of it happens in some type of a municipality. So it's, in many cases, out of our purview. But it is horrific. I mean, it's just so bad. And then a lot of the kids may not even be from around here. You know, they get taken, dropped off, because again, they're being pimped out. It's bad. So you don't even really know. I'm glad it's being tracked. And I would love to know more about it and what it is. And then you've got, I don't know, like, I don't even know what makes it up, but you don't really want it on the street because of, I mean, you guys have traveled, you've been in nice areas, and then you see, oh my God, I was on like, where was I? Oh, I was in Sydney, Australia, on like their Rodeo Drive. And there was a homeless lady that was like living like she was in Neiman Marcus on the street with her little fluffy dog. I'm like, how does this happen? But I would be interested in that just to understand it better. And I don't know what resources are available. And again, probably not happening in unincorporated, but I'm involved in a number of nonprofits that are dealing with the people that are hopefully coming out of that. So that's all. I just want to understand that these are things that are just absolutely devastating. I don't take it lightly by any means at all. So that's all. I just have to say that.
So for me, I would like to see it deleted there, and we can certainly add it to one of the items with the identify additional needs and services, i.e. or like homelessness or whatever, something that thing. But we don't have to determine our role. We know we don't have a role in the homelessness. We don't have that. So no matter what, I think the verbiage of this one line, it doesn't help us the way it is, unless we change that line up completely.
Man, I understand that, and I can support it. It's not going to go away. We're going to continue to be confronted and challenged and tasked and asked.
And I have no problem with putting some sort of a task line to it, yes.
So we'll be able to report on those issues under number 2 if we don't want to note it separately. But it's
I'm coming back to inventory, right? I mean, we're going to collect data.
I'm okay with doing the work. I'm not okay with saying determine whether we have a role. We don't have a role.
Yeah,
That's
call that one.
that's all I'm saying, to call out.
That's a dot thing. But could we do Inventory, can we use the word at that particular, just, we're gathering data? So we're doing the work, we're figuring out where, how, is it teenager, is it in a municipality?
But you have to remove role,
Yeah, roll
you have to
it out.
remove determine. You
Well-
can put review the county's.
I think somehow incorporate it into maybe EG, EG something.
Review the
I don't-
county's efforts in homelessness, review the county's oversight in homelessness, something along that line.
But why would it not be included, why is it not already included in number 2?
It is, that's what I'm saying, or
Yeah.
push it to number 2.
Why does it have to be called out individually? Because we could call out 20 different things, more than that, I'm sure.
I don't think it makes a difference. You could put in number 2.
Identify additional needs and services, comma, like homelessness, and work together for long-term operational financial sustainability.
Including, not like,
Yeah,
including.
including homelessness.
Yeah.
Yeah, or example given, or something,
Including homelessness, now
And
you
if
called
someone
it
else
out.
comes up
You
with a
called
board
it
they
out,
want to
and
add
it's
to
in
that,
number
they
2.
can,
We got a month,
yeah, they
I
can
think
keep
that-
adding to that. So. Okay, so strike the other.
And just, get rid of
part.
number 3 then.
Okay. Let's see, I think we need a little bit here, including those.
I have to go to work here soon. People not really raining?
You working inside?
Then the new goal there of supporting and enhancing police officer work, whether or not it's a goal, we're gonna continue to put this on there. Group 1 wanted it on there as a special goal on that,
Support and review. Because that's part of what we do is review to see is it working.
Yeah, continues kind of, we don't
I would
need
just
to
say
do
that.
that.
Review and support.
Yeah, review and
Social
support,
work
yeah, I
program.
think that's great.
Okay.
you can take off continue.
Pretty good.
Okay.
I did all my work for
Do
today.
this.
All
No
right,
problem sleeping.
final section, quality infrastructure.
Mine's box.
We had to evaluate the county's infrastructure and identify strategies, and there's some sub-goals. Routinely maintain roads and bridges, well, we do that. Fine, we can leave that on there. Then there was explore expediting bridge repairs. That was only one group, but they phrased it as or. And it certainly could be, and, if we wanted to add that line, but I don't think it wants to be either or.
I don't see where that line's even necessary,
I agree
because
with you.
we do all we can do for our bridges right now.
And every time we put money on the bridge, you guys know on Transportation Committee, you balance the slow process with federal money or the fast process on our own.
And it was only one group. We had 4 groups, it was only one, I'd strike it.
Yeah, because I think it's
Yeah,
disingenuous to the
yeah,
people of the county to act like we're adding verbiage like we're doing more. We're doing all that can be done, so.
Things that are part of the normal process need to be a part of the strategic plan.
It's kind of like.
B is something we've shown a lot of progress on in the last 4 years with work that's happening on 47 and plan for 31. I think we may get some additional discussion when we get to full county board level about whether we want to continue to note these specific projects. These are multi-year projects, and it's very safe to leave these on here for the next 4 years because we're going to be working on them for the next 4 years. But do they need to be called out specifically? I think that's
And
where.
are all of them actually projects that are being worked on right now? 'Cause I
No.
thought some of them weren't.
Well, 23 I want there, but I want 23 there because we need to remind people that that's the western edge. Let's work on it while it's easy in Farmfield, not when it's all downtown McHenry.
No.
That's the reason I like to see something like that. It's like, yeah, it may be 20 years from now before that happens, but really, I don't want to see somebody building the shopping center 30 feet away from the 23 right away.
Then, all right,
So I'm gonna take out the group 4 then.
We'll see how everybody reacts. Then, this one, we had some discussion at our last county board meeting about necessarily whether or not you want to call it out
Okay, I get it.
specifically. It's a goal. I mean, it's a goal.
For the money.
We'll go to the next, it's for the money.
We can all agree, we sadly will probably not be able to say there's no
That's
fatalities. And then, I'll let you catch up, Felicia.
No, it's all right, it's all right.
This one is an error. The new MC Right, this one kind of got through the cracks. I think there was some misunderstanding of what's actually happening here. It is essentially a discussion of promote the expansion of transit services. I mean, MC Ride and the new MC Connect are growing every month. I think we were planning to have a presentation in front of the county board, maybe as soon as the June evening meeting about where we are going with those numbers. But the discussion around this was predicated on some faulty knowledge, so I think we can clean that one up, but we don't need to have it on there.
So we can remove.
There's nothing to
We
reactivate.
can remove that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is nothing to reactivate.
It's not closed.
This one, number 2, undertake an IT infrastructure needs assessment. Only one group said take this out, but I do think we probably could take it out. As you know, as we talked about the fiber an hour ago, a year ago or 4 years ago, we sat kind of in the same setting with just new access to a whole bunch of money, and the ARPA said fiber all over it, and we did invest $100,000 in developing a third-party plan to roll out internet. That development of the plan helped us a lot to get where we are today, but I don't know that, I think we can say we're done.
Yeah, we needed coffee at that point and
Just-
didn't realize that
Okay.
Tracy had walked us to
Get rid of
Starbucks.
it too.
Yeah.
Delete.
All right, so we're removing?
Yeah.
All right.
Put a line that says, we've completed this.
Now, 4 years ago, we had a goal that said explore ways to expand recreational opportunities for all demographics.
At most awareness,
Yeah.
yeah. we're
So we
not
had
that
some
advanced.
language here to make it a little more palatable, say monitor and support, kind of understanding. We don't have a real active role in this. It's all kind of tangential in our work through Natural and McCarran County and the Conservation
Exactly.
District.
Yeah,
One group said remove. I think you could safely leave it in as monitor and support. You could safely take it out because it's not our
Doesn't
main
make any
lane.
difference.
Yeah, we can remove it.
If we get down to that, that's the only thing we've accomplished, we're in real trouble.
You mean,
You did such a good job.
I'd leave monitor and support,
okay.
leave it in.
Awareness of it.
We'll have things to report on.
I want to know where the party's at, come on, guys.
It's
Richardson's
a
Farm
real
this
source of
weekend.
information now.
All right, good.
Okay, final one, and we can have some additional discussion with your full board on this one, but, you know, Sheriff Titleman did have a request that we put a goal on for the next 4 years to look at investigating possible location of a standalone public safety building.
Yeah, they're exploding.
If you do that, it necessarily comes with a broader study of what do you do with the space that's vacated, you know, where do you do all this, so should the board want to have this on there, the staff might suggest something like more of a comprehensive facilities master plan that would, with a focus on building a new sheriff's facility.
Right, we just spent a
Yeah.
year finally getting a bid.
I thought we already did this.
We
Yeah,
just
a
authorized
little
it.
more focused, clearly, that was a
there's a whole-
$30,000 endeavor to look at 4 offices.
And there's a whole
This
lot,
would be kind of looking at our whole.
even beyond that, we just spent a huge amount, and it was $1, but we spent a huge amount of money renovating the Cary facility to do additional law enforcement activities, and that's where the social workers go. I mean, I understand that is truly a long-term goal, but I don't know how soon we're gonna get to that.
And so if
If
you
he's just
just
putting
leave
it on
the
it as a
investigate the
bid.
possible locations for the standalone safety public safety and get rid of everything else,
For the need,
you're just investigating it, whether it's even the needs even there. You'll take the different steps away from that if we say, okay, what happens if we see there's a need and we put this here? What happens from the sucking sound when they leave that building, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, why don't we just take it off? I mean, we
Well, I think, because it's a heads up if that's what, so I would say investigate the need
Yes.
of a standalone
I
public
like the
safety building, and
proposed
that's,
language instead, if you're gonna do this, do a comprehensive facility master plan and call it a day.
But if you decide there's no need, a comprehensive master plan costs a lot of money.
And we
Let's
just
find the need
did-
first and then go from that
yeah,
point.
I like need.
All right, you guys win.
So focus on public safety. And if we need it, then we'll do step two, we'll do the
Right.
comprehensive.
Right.
If we have a
Yeah.
need,
I'll decide what to
Yeah.
do about it. Okay.
So is it investigate the need for a standalone public safety building?
yes.
No, there's no motions appropriate under the
I
circumstances.
will appreciate
correct?
that, leave it on there. There, thank you.
Job well done.
Okay. Thank you, folks. Capital plan update.
I have nothing to report.
Okay.
All right, let's get to the next line.
Tough act to follow. Crystal Lake is moving along well. When you drive by, it may not look that way. There's a lot going on right there.
I drove in.
Yeah, I did
It's
too.
only a half mile from my office. It's easy to drive in.
Footings and foundations are poured around the entire building. Some of the site utilities have been connected and have been made. Masons has the westerly block wall up. It should be primarily done with this drive-through clinic area on the Mason side at the end of next week. Electricians there, HVAC's there, nursing's demoed. That piece of the puzzle is complete. So progress is going along well there. It's a well-coordinated effort. Animal control operations are impacted. They're being patient through this with us, and we're checking in with them regularly to make sure that things are still okay, and they are. We've made some modest adjustments to get the public in and out. Most of the public moving in and out is scheduled appointments, thankfully. So that project's going along reasonably well. Parking lot project likewise is going along well. They were to be here today, removing asphalt and checking subgrade grades, et cetera. They were rained out. Currently, we're tracking to be done the second week of July, which is about 6 weeks earlier than we anticipated when we started this project, scheduling wise.
Weather permitting.
Yeah. Yes, if we run into weather like this for the next 6 weeks, we'll be right back where we thought we were going to be with our schedule. So that's going well. We haven't come into any real significant cost issues on the parking lot. Things were as we expected they would be. The cure and seal product has been going down as we've been pouring the flat work. So that's really about all I have to report on. We haven't started with the coroner's project yet. That's designed to start after what's called schoolwork in the construction industry. The same contractors that publicly bid on schoolwork, and they get caught up with their crews during that period of time. So we'd like to try to coordinate our bids to be starting after that work as they're out in August. So that's where we stand there. We're doing a little bit of work down in the lobby for the BAC. Mike Wanacke had asked to improve the entrance to that office suite to allow a little better access for some of his clients. Doors and hardware have been ordered for that. Once it comes in, the entrance door will become a little wider. It'll have a push button and modest changes. So that's what I have.
Questions? Thank you. HR,
We have no HR report today. I will just tell you, we have Suzanne is down with this morning with other county HR directors at the Executive Director's Office of the Illinois Municipal Retirement. And kind of expressing some frustrations that a lot of our HR directors in the region are having right now with IMRF and the monumental task that IMRF undertook a year ago of changing computer systems. And it's big and it was needed, but my God, it has really been a challenge for a lot of our retirees, you know, to retire one day and then, you know, not get a check for 12 weeks. It's tough. And those are the kind of things that have been happening in some instances. So kind of expressing our desire to continue progress on reformation to that is that's where Suzanne is today. And I'm glad she's done that.
Communications.
All right. For those who are remote or watching from home, my name is Alicia Schuler, Director of Public Affairs, and this is your communications report. So, I was very pleased to arrange for an interview of our very own Chief Assessments Officer, Alejandro Benitez, with the Huntley radio segment around town. And he gave a presentation on popping the hood on the assessments process. He did a fantastic job, and feel free to tune in on July 5th when it airs. So, on a personal note, I think he was tickled pink that he had a second opportunity to talk about the assessment process for 20 minutes, and he was very keen to report that to his wife and children. Communications collaborations. I was very happy, and so was our office, to work with the county treasurer to distribute a news release, website graphics, social media content, etc., on the property tax bills that went out recently. FYI, to those who are listening at home, the first installment for property taxes is due on June 10th, and there are many, many, many convenient ways to pay. So feel free to visit the treasurer's website. Also, we were happy to assist the Planning and Development Department's Water Resource Division on distributing information regarding different water events. We're happy to coordinate with the county coordinator to distribute that information to our municipal partners. And I can't believe I left this out of the report, but I also coordinated with the Northwest Herald staff to, give a media pitch and encourage them to attend the ROE's Teacher of the Year Awards. They did attend, and there was a front page story on that. So again, very pleased to see our teachers get the recognition they deserve. As for communications of note, the Division of Transportation held its second annual Touch a Truck event, and they had about 1,800 people in attendance. So great job to the Division of Transportation. Follower growth and reach. So county administration social media channels have increased their followings, but Twitter had a negative following this time around. So that wasn't as great. Got to keep an eye on that channel. Facebook accounts. Our Facebook account reached 76,398 accounts. It is a reduction from last month, but again, these things ebb and flow. We have gotten 2.7 million impressions. And again, I don't want to read the entire report, but if you have any questions on, how we are reaching out to our constituents, please let me know. You can see, the top posts by reach and engagement on the back. And do you guys have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Just a couple notes quick. We spent an awful lot of time last week dealing with legislative issues, in particular the efforts to reform RTA and avoid the fiscal cliff. Appreciate Pam's help. A special shout out to Chairman Bueller. He was very accessible all week long. We had multiple meetings with our county chairman, and I was always proud of our group. We have these groups of 18, 22 people on there, and we got myself and Alicia and Shaylin and Scott Hennings, our resident expert, and Chairman Bueller. So I appreciate Mike's leadership on the efforts, and we'll see where it goes. But I think McHenry County represented ourselves well in the discussion. And, a lot of conversations, both in big groups and then offline calls from various chairs, and a lot going on there. We also are keeping an eye on Washington, D.C. and the discussions there and the changing relationships between the federal government and county and state governments. And it's just a lot to monitor. We are, at the state level, we're gonna get a, kind of a session end recap from Joyce Narduli, the lobbyist we contract with McCog, and get that out shortly. And keep an eye, NACO's got some different summaries that are always coming up about things that are changing at the federal level, so we're looking at NACO constantly. It's a great resource if you ever kind of want to look on there. Just a couple other things. We've been spending time already. Kathy's been kind of our lead designer on the presentation we're going to be doing next Thursday at the Committee of the Whole on the budget presentation for developing fiscal 26 budget. Going to do a kind of a dry run of that this afternoon with Finance Chair Scala and Carrie, and looking forward to that. I think it's coming together well, and look forward to doing that presentation. And finally, I'll just note, yesterday afternoon, Shaylin and I got invited down to Kane County to meet with Chairwoman Pirog and Leslie Melende, the Executive Director of Metro West Council of Governments. Kane County wants to kind of replicate what we're doing with our county coordinator position, and they're developing their strategic plan just like you are now, and it is on there. So we're kind of talking with them about how we developed the program and what it's yielded for us. So it's always fun to talk about yourself, and proud of what we're doing. Thank you.
Any questions? We do not have, any future topics? Don't all speak at once, okay? In that case, we have no executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn? By Terry, seconded by Matt. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.